Hello. Hello? It's jumping forward. Alright. We gotta try and let the live stream catch up to us here. It looks like we're not quite there yet.
Alright.
I don't know what's going on. My internet is being funky. What's happening here?
I don't know. Can you hear me?
Hello, hello. What's going on? Alright, y'all. I'm trying to get this system here working. I don't know what's going on. If you happen to be watching the live stream right now, if you can let me know just by clicking like or posting a quick comment, that would be amazing. We have one person watching, and I can't tell if the stream is, it's buffering a whole bunch.
Oh no. It's a little slow.
Yeah, it's on me now. I can tell that I'm there. I just don't know. I'm going to switch over to this 2.5 gigahertz on the internet and see. What do you mean? I was saying... Oh, we don't need that. Nope. Okay, gosh darn it. Unbelievable. So, we're having an internet problem here.
Oh, my mom's asking how do you listen? How do you listen?
Okay, it looks like it's connected, so I don't know what the heck is going on here.
Speaking of
Okay, I think we're trying to catch up. What's going on? What's going on? Come on, internet. Don't be mean to me. Not today. You were working just fine last night.
Oh no.
Actually, I think we're there.
Are we good?
Sure does sound like it anyway. That's the problem. Yeah, we are there. Okay. We've got audio going on now, but why are we... That's why. That on. Now we should be good. Hello. That on. Now we should be good. We are. Oh my gosh. Okay, we're going to start this all over again. I am Eli Rigatuso. Thank you so much for those of you who might or might not be tuning in. I don't know at this point because my internet was being funky. And so we were trying to get connected and we were having some issues. So I apologize about the delay in getting the live stream started, but we are here streaming live at Heartland Pride at the CHI Center at the 2022 Pride Festival. Super exciting to be down here and doing the thing. You are watching Speaking of Happy. I am here in my podcast trailer doing the thing. Although it looks like the internet is still being funky on me. I wish it wasn't. But I think it's... Yes, it's working just fine. All right, I'm trying to trust that this is good, but it looks like it keeps buffering. Do you see how it keeps stopping? Oh, all of the problems. Everything was working fine yesterday. All right, y'all, I'm just not going to worry about it. I'm just going to leave it, and we're going to just trust that we are good to go. We don't have any viewers right now. We are actually talking to ourselves, but we are recording, so... and I can read my lips, and I am saying exactly that. I'm going to let this thing finish its diagnostics, and then we'll see if we can get started here. I'm going to turn that light off and see if that takes the brightness off my face. Oh, it changes the whole thing, though. Oh, okay. All right, gosh darn it. I'm exhausted. It keeps... Oh, it changes the whole thing, though. Oh, okay. All right, gosh darn it. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think it's like we keep buffering. Yeah, I think it's like we keep buffering. So there's a little bit of a delay. So that's going to be kind of weird for you to see. Yeah, it's like we keep buffering. Just FYI, I'm just going to turn that off. And we're going to just not even think about that anymore. We are just going to go ahead and do the interview as slated. All right. Again, I am Eli Rigatuso with Speaking of Happy, and I am here at the Heartland Pride celebration, the festival that's down at the CHI Center here in Omaha, Nebraska, down off of North 10th Street, downtown Omaha. If you're not here, I would like to know why. There is like a massive amount of booths here, folks like from all kinds of different businesses and organizations. So you'll want to get yourself down here if you're not already here. If you are here and you happen to be watching this, you're welcome to come over to the trailer because I am talking to the folks today about what pride means to them. And right now, I'm so excited. I have my two new besties are here with me. My besties, Adrian, and why can't I not remember your first name right now? Justin, right? Okay. I've got Adrian and Justin here with me. My new bestie, and I already forgot their first name. I'm so sorry. It's been a morning. Why am I not hearing you? There we go. Okay, talk. There we go.
There you go.
All
Yeah, I can hear
right.
you now.
Now I can hear you. There we go. We just had to get that on there. All right. Well, first of all, I'm going to say, Adrian, thank you so much. And Justin, for driving here all the way from Lincoln to walk with us in the Pride Parade this morning.
Yeah, of course.
It was so awesome to have you both here and have your support. And I mean, I'm just a huge fan of you, Adrian, anyway. But now I'm also a huge fan of your fiance, Justin. Yay! So, Adrian, here's the first question I'm going to ask you.
Okay.
The question that I'm going to ask you is, can you share a little bit with me about what makes you proud as it relates to your being Indigenous?
Oh, can you repeat the question again?
What makes you most proud about being Indigenous?
Probably that like my parents were like very supportive, I guess. Like even though we weren't like around it and like not knowing the culture as well, it's still happy to know like at least a little bit of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll tell you, it's kind of interesting because, I'm first generation born off the reservation. My mom was actually born on the reservation up in Kashina, Wisconsin.
Oh, nice.
And so we always knew that we were Native American because I have folks that live, relatives that still live up on the reservation. Mm-hmm. And so it is kind of interesting because it's like kind of feeling like you don't belong in either world.
Oh, yeah.
To a certain degree. And so I can really relate to what you just shared about that. So now the easier question, maybe, I don't know. What does pride mean to you?
Oh, that's a hard one. I would say like most about being like proud. You said proud, right?
Yeah.
It's just knowing that even though like maybe like some people come from a like harder like past, they actually get to a point where it's like, oh, we don't have to be scared anymore. We can actually like express ourselves how we want to, or just be happy and know the fact that we have other people around us that are just encouraging us to be excited.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. I mean, I think that you're touching on something kind of interesting because I think a lot of people will say, why do we still need pride? Right?
Yeah.
Now, we need pride because we want folks to be able to feel that they can come somewhere and fully express themselves.
Exactly.
Because it doesn't always happen outside of here, right?
No.
And so it's nice to have that space to do that. So you just graduated high school, correct?
I did.
Yes. What are your plans?
Probably just working full time now at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Mm-mm.
I mean, hey, make some money,
Exactly.
do some stuff. Maybe you'll go to college, maybe you won't.
Maybe not.
But it
just
doesn't
depends.
matter, right? It doesn't matter. I think it's kind of interesting because, I think that there are a lot of things that we can do as people that don't necessarily have to have a college degree. Be nice, but it's like spending a bunch of money to...
And then you have to like gradually make your way back up to pay off that. And then like over the years, it's like, are we actually making that money back? Or are we just still paying in?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Although I know some programs at UNL and UNO actually offer bachelor's degrees that you don't have to pay for.
Oh, really?
I'll get some more information on that for you.
Okay.
So now, Justin, I'm going to ask you the same question about what does pride mean to you?
Pride to me is knowing that a community can come together after so many years of hardship and express who they are without judgment or being afraid of being insulted. There's always that chance they're going to, but we're proud about it now. We
Yeah.
don't have to hide who we are.
Yeah, there feels like there's maybe a thicker skin that kind of happens because we know
Yeah.
that there's more of us, right?
Yeah, we can be more open and have a community instead of hiding in dive bars and praying that we don't get hurt.
Yeah, yeah. So what would you say is your favorite thing about Pride happening every year?
People coming together as one and celebrating just together without people getting in arguments or fights.
Yeah. Right on. Right on. Hey, so Justin, are you from the Nebraska area?
I am not. I'm actually from Iowa,
Oh, where in Iowa?
Des Moines.
Okay. What was the atmosphere like there every year around Pride?
Pride there every year was a huge festival. All the drag queens would come out and just throw on the biggest show ever. And there's videos with my friend Complete Moon is actually a drag queen out there, and they just did Pride this year.
Yeah.
And he said that it was like the best thing that happened after COVID.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. I'm happy to hear that. All right, so tell us a little bit about yourself. Do you have any stories about coming out and what it was like for you to come out?
My mom really just knew, and just basically like it's okay. The hardest was coming out to my grandparents, but my family is so supportive of who I am and who I'm with.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, Adrian, same question to you. Do you have any, like, it sounds like your parents were really supportive. I think, yeah, go ahead.
That's like my birth parents are very supportive. They're so happy like to see that I'm growing as a person in a whole. Whereas along with I'm adopted, so my
Okay.
adoptive parents, they weren't really supportive at first. They kind of knew because I wasn't doing everything that like a regular like I guess a boy would do when they're younger. And I think like the hardest part was like I was so confused with my sexuality. I think around in like sixth grade, going into seventh grade, where I was like, do I want to be a girl? Do I want to be a guy? So I was like thinking, oh, maybe I'm transgender. So I came out to them as transgender. It's like then they were just, no, you're a boy. You do boy stuff. We don't really want that in the house. And it's just I felt like secluded in that family where I wasn't just very supported, except for my brothers. They were all supportive. They were all happy for me. They knew that I was going to be happy like later in life, and they were just holding on. And then I came out in, I believe it was eighth grade to them being gay, and pretty much what they said was, "We do support you. We just don't want it in our house." So when they figured that out, they ended up having me get all of my makeup, all of my like girl clothes, anything that wasn't like manly to them per se. They ended up like taking it and then like soaring it away, like some of it at least, and then the other stuff they just threw away completely because they just did not approve of it. They weren't happy at all. But
And this was your adoptive parents.
mhm.
Okay. Are you still connected to them?
I am.
Yeah.
After I think I moved, they were more supportive about it because then it's just like, oh, you're not in my house anymore. Do whatever you want. Be happy. Be free.
I wonder why that is for some folks. I mean, I've heard that people share that kind of is what has happened. It's like they've gone away, kind of moved away, and then for whatever reason, parents have come around. I mean, it's nice that you're supported or finding support now.
Oh,
What
yeah.
would you say to young two-spirit kiddos that are out there who might be listening about maybe not having supportive parents right now? Do you have anything that you would say to them?
I would say don't give up on what you want to achieve in life or like your sexuality or anything. Just go like think of the long run instead of like trying to hurry things now. Because that's what I tried doing and then I regretted it completely because then I just wasn't happy. Just stay happy, do what you're doing, and just keep growing slowly
Yeah.
until you're like comfortable enough to actually tell your parents or parent figures.
Yeah. So did you always know about or that you were adopted, or was there a point where you found out you were adopted and then sought to find your birth parents?
I knew I was adopted from the get-go because I still remember the day where we were taken, which is really upsetting, and we ended up going to our grandparents for a little bit. And we stayed there for like, I think maybe 3 weeks, and next thing we know, like, oh, okay, kids, pack up your stuff. You're gonna go to like their son's place. It's like, okay. So we were just trying to get around with that, and then I think maybe like a week later, we ended up coming back to Lincoln and going to this office, and all of a sudden you're just like, oh, hey, these are your new parents now. I'm like, oh, okay. I remember personally, but I don't think my brother did at the time, which like we were still okay with it. They still let us see our parents normally on a like a well, not really a normal basis, but like on our birthdays, we would get to see them, and that was a lot.
Wow.
It was a lot to handle, but also at the same time, we were happy just to be around them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm glad that they let you stay connected to your family.
Oh yeah,
I think it's really important, even though maybe if your parents were struggling and that's why you were placed with an adoptive family. I'm not quite sure what the background story is, and you don't need to share if you don't feel like sharing that, because I know that that's personal.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that they let you be connected to your family.
Oh yeah, I'm so grateful to actually know that both parents are still with me, and that I know that I'm supported at either place.
Yeah, that's really awesome. Well, I really appreciate you sharing what you did, because you did get a little vulnerable, and
I did.
yeah, you did. Is there anything else you want to say to the folks that are listening? I'm really glad you drove here from Lincoln. I'm
yeah, of course.
Wonderful to see you again. You looked amazing as ever.
Thank you.
Walking in the parade. I'm gonna send you some photos. I got some photos of the two of you waving the flags, and then when you held hands, oh my gosh!
Oh no! Stop!
I was like, that is the cutest thing ever.
Yeah.
Unfolding at the beginning of the Pride Parade. So thank you so much. I appreciate you both. Justin, thank you so much for being here. Really seriously appreciate meeting you and knowing you. The two of you are welcome to come to Omaha anytime and hang out with me. Got plenty of room in my house. Is there anything else you would like to say to the folks that might be listening about Pride, or about being yourself, or
just be who you are? It might be hard, but you can make through it.
Yeah. Be happy. That's right.
Just be happy.
Speaking of happy. All right, y'all. We are going to pause the live stream here for just a moment. I think we have some folks waiting outside to come in and answer that question. What does pride mean to you? We'll be right back. I am waiting for it to click up to the next. Should be showing us here in a minute. I think we're live. It says we're live.
Got some nice background music at least.
My gosh. This has been a day and a half. We are live. See that? There we are. Hey, we are live. We are back. We're here at the Pride Festival at the CHI Conference Center downtown. And now I have another person. I was going to say victim, but I don't see you as a victim.
No, I wouldn't either. Definitely not. I just go along with whatever you tell me.
Right.
So not a victim.
I did say, come inside. I have a question to ask you. And you're like,
all right.
Okay.
Doesn't take much to lure me into a van, I guess. Wear some rainbow and here we go.
That is hilarious. Doesn't take much to lure you into a van.
Rainbows get me.
Now that we've lured Jamie into the van, Jamie, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Are you ready?
Of course.
What does pride mean to you?
Pride means being able to bring my whole authentic self fully and feel as though I can be present. That's what pride means to me.
Yeah. So, what do you think of the festival this year?
Oh, I think it's wonderful.
Yeah?
Last year it was raining and it was kind of a downer, and then just coming into this, we waited in line and it was worth it just to see all of the rainbow stuff, see people that I know, see some really cool organizations that haven't been here before.
Yeah.
There's a lot more here, so it's been really exciting to see that.
Were you at the parade at all?
No, we did not make it to the parade.
That's okay. I'm going to take your card away. I'm just kidding.
Honestly, you probably have the authority to do that, considering who you are. But.
It's quite all right. It's all good. It's all good. All right. Well, Jamie, is there anything else you want to tell folks about Pride today?
It's such a wonderful feeling.
Yeah.
Just to be here. That's it.
Yeah.
It's just a wonderful feeling.
To be in a space where you are seen, heard, honored, and affirmed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. All right. Well, Jamie, thanks for being lured into the trailer.
Anything for you, I guess.
All right, we are still here. I got some people lining up outside. We're going to pause for a moment, and we'll be back with some more folks sharing what pride means to them. All right, we have our next person who has been lured into the trailer. I like that, the way Jamie explained that. She said, I'm easily lured into a trailer," is what she said. I was like, oh my gosh, some people.
Oh
All
yeah,
right.
now that I think about it, it's definitely kind of tad, just a little suspicious.
Yeah, see? So I have my next guest with me today who is attending Pride down at the CHI in Omaha. This is Robin. Robin, welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Hey, you're welcome. So this is Speaking of Happy. And
Okay.
what we decided to do is set up and do some podcasting live here from the event. And I have one question for you. It could lead to some other questions.
Right.
But I just have one question that I'm asking folks. And that is, what does pride mean to you?
See, pride for me is just basic, simple. I want to be able to leave my house and not worry if I'm going to get shot, harassed, raped, anything. No. I want basic fucking human rights, and that's it. I'm not asking for much when it
Yeah.
comes to pride.
Okay. So can you share with me, how do you identify?
I am pansexual non-binary. I use they, them pronouns.
Okay.
And I have for quite some time now, so.
And what was that like as you've been sharing with your community about who you are?
Coming out as pansexual is fairly easy in comparison to my experience as a non-binary person. These different various schools that I've attended, and the people I around were pretty much okay with that stuff. I have run into a bit of problems with family and strangers. That's where it really comes down to.
Yeah. What do you mean problems in regard to strangers? Like what kinds of, like, misgendering you or?
No. Well, misgendering, yes, but I don't really mind that as much because I don't expect them to know because they don't know who I am.
Yeah.
They don't know my name. How are they going to know my pronouns?
Yeah.
I'm talking like I go on a lot of walks. I
Oh.
leave my house, walk around. I get catcalled and called a slur
Wow.
probably once or twice every couple weeks.
Mm.
So I want to be able to walk around in my own neighborhood and not be harassed by people I don't know.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, I appreciate you sharing that, and I'm sorry that is your experience, especially because it would be nice for you to be able to walk around in your own neighborhood and not feel like you can't just be yourself and not be harassed.
Right.
So that sucks. But what does it feel like to be here in this environment today?
I didn't realize how many gay people there were in Omaha. This is my first time attending Pride.
Ah.
So I haven't really done any of this before. All very new. It's nice to see the older folks and adults.
All right. Okay, that is not us yet. We should be. There we are. We are live. We are back. We have more folks lining up to talk to us today. Okay, they're not really lining up because I don't know if they necessarily understand what I'm doing. But once they get lured into the trailer, they're like, whoa, this is so cool. So anyway, we are here and we are still asking the question. Here with Speaking of Happy again, I'm Eli Rigatuso. Y'all know me, those of you that watch. Those of you that don't watch, Speaking of Happy is a little thing that I created to put the word happy back into the word gay. And then as I did that, I decided I had this vision of creating a podcast trailer, and I actually made it come to fruition. So I've been bringing the trailer to different events all through the Pride season. We are at Omaha Pride today, and we are asking one single question of our guests. And that question is, what does pride mean to you? And right now I have my friend Dakota in the house. Hi, Dakota.
Hi, everybody. Happy Pride.
Yes. You look fantastic today, my
Thank
friend.
you.
And so the question is, what does pride mean to you?
Oh, that is such a complicated question. I don't know if we have enough time. You like? I mean, I know you like to talk. I like to talk.
I'm here all day.
We could be here all day.
We have plenty of time to fill.
What does pride mean to me? I mean, I could say all the cliche things, like it means happiness, it means belonging, it means being myself, it means all of these things. But I think if I dig beneath that, to me personally, I mean, I think that it just means acceptance. And I don't mean from everyone else, I mean for myself. Because that was probably the biggest battle I ever had with my queerness, was just accepting myself. And once I was able to do that and solidify that, then, you know, everything else falls into place. And I just can't help but feel that every time I'm surrounded by all these wonderful queer people feeling the same thing, just about how amazing it is that we can all just do our best to thrive in our own bodies and our own minds.
Wow, that is really beautiful.
Thank you.
I can totally relate. Can you tell me a little bit about your own personal gender journey and how that has helped you arrive to this point of self-acceptance and love?
Yeah, of course. So I didn't come out until I was 27. And before then, I had lived my life presenting as a straight man, unfortunately. And I came out at 27 as a transgender woman to my wife at the time, relationship now for our 2 children, whom I also have, whom I'm their biological father. And after we divorced, I went through just a lot of turbulence because
Center, which is actually the arena and conference center that's downtown off South 10th Street. I have another guest who has been easily lured into the trailer. That's been the new line.
I see.
My current guest who is sitting with me today is Randy. Randy, thank you so much for joining me today.
Happy to do so.
Yeah. Randy sat down and I turned Randy's microphone on and I went, wow, you've got a great voice for radio. And then Randy shared that they used to do voiceover work.
Oh, yes. Voiceover work in New England, and I've always done all the radio and TV commercials for whatever enterprise I'm working with.
Yeah, yeah. You have that great radio voice. I think we've been fed that kind of a sound, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that's true. That's
Yeah,
true.
so-
Well, I do come from that part of the Midwest that all of the mainstream news reporters did for many, many years.
Yeah, yeah.
We didn't used to see the kind of diversity in news reporting that we do now.
Yeah, absolutely. So were you doing news reporting and then also doing voiceover
No,
work?
just
and
voiceover
Just
work,
voiceover work?
just for clients. And regrettably, there isn't much of that kind of work out here in Nebraska, so I haven't really pursued it here.
Yeah. You know, you can do a lot of things virtually now. We'll have to connect.
These days, that's actually a good idea. I should
Yeah.
think about that.
Yeah, there's a website called Backstage.
Ooh.
You can sign up and you can upload your voiceover samples, and then it'll send you connections for when there's voice work available. Some paid, some not paid.
Sure.
But different levels of pay. But I would imagine that with your experience, you could probably have a very lucrative career sitting in the comfort of your own home.
You know, living in Blue Hill, Nebraska, that would be a very nice thing.
Oh wow, Blue Hill, Nebraska. Where is that at?
Blue Hill is 20 miles south of Hastings, which is a better-known landmark. It's about 3 hours from Omaha, so I'm about 3 hours from home at the moment. It is 20 minutes north of Red Cloud, which was the home of Willa Cather. Mm-hmm. So if you're not familiar with Willa Cather, she is, I always call her the other well-known queer from Webster County. So it is Catherlands there.
Yeah.
But I grew up there and then went to Boston for 25 years and came back after my dad.
So, Randy, have you always been an outspoken and active advocate for the community, or was that?
Well, I
something-
have been for 46 years.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know if you call that always, since I was 19.
Okay.
It's just always seemed the most natural thing for me to be, is to be out, because it's what I am. I've never been in denial about what I am. It's always just been a matter of whether to be honest about my life or not.
Yeah.
And I made that choice early on, that it was much easier to live an honest life than it was to live a dishonest one, even with the downsides of it.
Yeah. You know what? And that is exactly where I got to as I was growing up and kind of figuring out myself as well. Just came to a certain point where I was like, you know what? I'm going to come out to my parents. And after that, I don't care. It was like that was the biggest hurdle was coming out to family.
And I will say you that my parents were
Festival down here at the CHI Health Center, also known as Conference Center and Arena. And I'm really excited for this next guest because I know about the organization, and they actually even asked me to participate in one of their fundraisers, and that was before COVID happened, and it was about dancing, which is kind of fun, but I probably would have totally flubbed it up. If anything, I would have gotten lots of laughs. But I'm really excited to have a conversation with my next guest, who has been a mental health therapist by trade, practicing mental health therapy for more than 10 years here in Omaha, Nebraska, and also the current executive director at Youth Emergency Services as of May of 2022. Welcome to the show, Kalisha Reed. Kalisha, thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Can I give you one clarification?
Yes.
My name is pronounced Kalisha.
Kalisha.
Yes.
Thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much. And I apologize for that
That's
because I have a
okay.
thing about, you know what? People call me Ellie.
Oh, that's
I don't
not
know
good.
why or how. It's spelled E-L-I.
Yes. So we can't be saying that.
Yeah, and everybody and their uncle, I love it when I correct them too, because they're like, "Oh, I have a good friend whose name is spelled just like that, and she pronounces it Ellie," and I'm like, "Okay, well, she has nothing to do with me,
Right.
and that's not how I pronounce
Right.
it." But I think people say that because I think it's an excuse.
Oh.
I don't actually think it's the truth. All right, so I was gonna launch the easy question at you
Okay.
first. Are you ready?
I think so, yeah.
And then we're gonna get into the nitty gritty.
Okay.
All right, but this is the easy
Doesn't
question.
have to be like long answers.
No, not at all. I just want to know, about what's going on, what's
Okay.
happening.
Okay.
What does pride mean to you, Kalisha?
So
Or
that it's Kalisha.
Okay.
You were right.
See, now I'm going to second guess myself. Okay.
So, well, first of all, I'm really happy to be here. This is my first time attend. For me, walking in, it really felt inclusive and felt like just a really great energy, a really great space to be in, a safe place to be in, and just being able to fellowship and be able to meet and greet and people who are in this space and who really want to be a resource to everyone when it comes to pride, inclusion, things like that. So really happy to be here.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about, for those emergency services provides.
So Youth Emergency Services has been a nonprofit here in the Omaha community since 1974. We actually started for our emergency shelter. And so our emergency shelter is really a core service of what we provide.
Make sure we are live. It says we are, but it's taking a second. Let's go here and see. There we go. All right. Welcome back. We have our next guest who has joined us in the Speaking of Happy podcast trailer to answer the question, what does pride mean to you? Welcome to the trailer, Graciela.
Hi there.
Hi there. So go for it. What does pride mean to you?
I think pride to me is about showing up as my authentic self because I know that when I was younger, I wasn't aware of people, even if they did, share parts of my identity. I didn't, know those adults. And I think it would have been helpful to just, know people that I could relate to and people that were safe, because I felt as though, there was no one around that, was going through the things that I was going through. I don't know.
Yeah, because if you don't really necessarily have any exposure, I mean, we don't necessarily always see reflections of ourselves in television and movies and all those different types of things, and so it's difficult to know or feel as though you're not the only one.
Yeah, for
right.
sure.
Are you willing to share with us how you identify?
I'm a pansexual cisgender woman.
Okay. And what's been your favorite part of Pride so far today?
Just walking around with a couple of friends that I have with me.
Yeah.
It's been a good time.
Awesome. Are you from the Omaha area?
I'm small town Iowa. We're about half an hour away.
Okay. So
It's kind of like the next biggest city. I'm in the middle of nowhere. Yeah.
well, hey, it's so great to be able to have access to an event like
For sure.
today's event. Were you here for the parade as well?
I was not. We missed
Yeah,
it.
that's okay. No,
Yeah.
no problem. Anything else you would like to share with anybody who might be listening or who might catch this later? Any words of wisdom that you could share about just being who you are and being comfortable?
I'm not sure. I suppose, I don't know, just trying to set ego at the door. And I don't know. I at times feel a lot of shame in the struggles that I've been through, but I know if I am not, open and honest about that, how am I going to grow past that, and how, are other people going to know that that is something that exists and that you can live through and grow through.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, again, I mean, we have so many stigmas around, mental health and well-being and all those kinds of things. And then when you're also removed and living in a small town, and I'm sure in your small town, you probably feel different than. Give y'all an idea of what all is happening here. Looking at the 2022 Pride Guide, which actually is available online. If you go to the Heartland Pride Facebook page, there's a link to the PDF guide that you can download. But I do want to talk a little bit about Heartland Pride, the organization itself. They have their current board members are made up of Philip Koenig, who's the president. Nikki Trahan Ferris is the vice president and secretary. Dominic Green is entertainment chair. Andrew Myers is the treasurer. Drew Pauly is the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion board member. Danny Schwager, or Schwager, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that, Marketing and Communications. We have Olivia Morgan, who is Logistics and is amazing. Thank you, Olivia. Samuel Parnell, who organizes the parade, which, I mean, come on, y'all. I think you have to understand that having a parade of that magnitude down in the old market is a pretty big deal. And now I know that parking is a premium down there, and it's kind of hard sometimes to find places to park. There are actually a lot of places to park, and I think I'm going to make some recommendations to them for some things to share for next year, which I think will help, because things were pretty congested down there. But we also have Jessica Carver, who is the Youth Pride board member, and Lauren Neal, Youth Pride chair, and Yesenia Duran is the community outreach board member. So I'm just kind of flipping through this amazing Pride guide, I'm going to share about some of the things that are in the guide. Some of the main sponsor, Signature Performance, is actually one of the big sponsors of Pride. And entertainment is going to be starting at 6:30, so it's about almost 4 o'clock. It's been a heck of a day so far, but really just amazing. Tonight's co-hosts of the Pride celebration are Candace Kane, who performed in New York City nightclubs and drag since the 1990s, came out as transgender in 1996, and then Kane came to national attention in 2007 for portraying Mistress Carmelita on ABC's primetime drama Dirty Sexy Money. The role makes Kane the first transgender actress to play a recurring transgender character in primetime. In primetime, she is perhaps best known for her recurring role as the fairy queen on the fantasy series The Magicians. Candace Kane is freaking amazing, just FYI. The other co-host is, I believe, Eris Wanzer. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that first name. Wanzer has been the cover girl for the Spiegel catalog, the first trans model to do so, and has appeared in Elle, Vogue, Vogue Ital Live. Y'all, we are almost there.
Okay.
Looks like we are live. We are back, and I am here with one of my favorite little people who's not really little. I shouldn't say little, but young person who is, since I did the interview with them at the Glisten Pride event, I've had a number of folks go watch the interview and then come back and say to me, that was my favorite interview of the whole day. So I'm bringing back my little friend, Jade. Jade, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good.
You're doing good? Tell me about how your day's kind of unfolded. What's been your favorite thing so far?
We went to the Pride Parade and we walked with Parasol Patrol.
You mean the Speaking of Happy Pride trailer was not your favorite thing today? It's okay. So you went and walked with the Pride. Can you tell me about the Parasol Patrol? What do they do?
They block out the hateful protesting signs with rainbow umbrellas, or parasols as they call them.
Yes. And how was that? Did you run into any nefarious characters?
We walked the whole parade without finding protesters, but right at the end, we found a couple.
And how did that go?
We just chased them around and stuff. It was fun.
Well, you go with your big old chasing self. Now, you weren't chasing them in those boots, were you?
No, I was chasing them in tennis shoes.
Okay. Because you got in here and said that your feet were killing you. Here, hold your foot up. I'm going to take a shot with this other camera over here. Look at those boots. I think you can see them. Yeah, that's quite a heel you got going on there.
Yeah, I didn't want to wear my other ones because those were very hard to walk in.
They were your big boots that you wore yesterday?
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are pretty awesome, though.
Yeah, I like them.
All right. So since I last spoke to you, do you have anything else to say about what pride means to you?
I think it just means loving yourself and accepting who you are.
Okay. What would you say about the feeling of being at this event this year?
I was really excited because I didn't get to go last year and the year before because of COVID.
Yeah.
And they canceled it, so I was really excited to come this year.
And what do you think?
It was amazing. It's been amazing. We're getting ready to go upstairs and see Albert.
All right. We are back. We have our next person coming in to share what pride means to them. I have Jenna with me. Jenna, can you answer that question for me? What does pride mean to you?
Pride to me means allowing yourself to be unapologetically you, because you know yourself best, and it is not fair to not allow yourself that at the expense of other people being more comfortable or whatever.
Yeah.
As long as you're not hurting anyone or yourself, why does it matter?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's beautiful. What's been your favorite part of the day?
Checking out some of the cool vendors, and they just finished a burlesque performance upstairs.
Oh, hey.
So I saw that, and it was awesome.
Very cool. Who was up there? Do you remember who the performers were?
I believe it was a group of performers, and the group is called Shinjuku Cabaret, I believe.
Oh.
I actually saw them last week at Nebcon Abridged. So
Okay.
it was fun to see them again. They did great again.
All right. Well, that is super awesome. Is there anything else that you would like to say to folks who are watching about, about how we can kind of carry what we feel here from Pride, kind of out into the world?
Remember how you feel when you're in a safe, encouraging space like this, and don't forget about it, because that's all that matters.
Yeah, take it with you. Take what you get here, fill up your cup, and then take it out into the world.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, Jenna, thank you so much for joining me here in the
Thank you for
Speaking
having
of
me.
Happy podcast trailer. You are very welcome, and you are welcome to come back if you decide there's something else you want to add to the conversation.
Thank you so much.
All right. Well, that's it. We're going to bring our next guest in. Thank you. And ding, 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 ding. All right. We are live back here in the Speaking of Happy trailer, discussing my face for radio
Yes.
with my new BFF.
Yes.
Everybody that comes in here today, I've been calling them my BFF because I appreciate the fact that people are jumping in the trailer here with me and having conversations about what Pride means to them and just sharing about their day here at Pride. With me right now is my new BFF, Tish. Hi, Tish. And friend, Susanna or Xana, right? Woo woo. Can you hear yourself okay?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Awesome. So, Susanna, what does Pride mean to you?
As far as the Pride Day or Pride Month, it is a moment to be absolutely and completely as out as possible in behavior, in clothes, in everything, because our everyday lives is normal and regular like every other person. And so to look at me, you wouldn't necessarily know that I'm gay necessarily. However, on Pride Day, I like to dress up and just be out literally and always possible. But in my everyday life, like my regular conversation, I don't bother with hiding pronouns. Like I talk about my wife, and it is normal. I make it normal part of conversation, so it's not something I hide.
Right.
But for the actual Pride celebration,
Yeah.
it's nice to be all out and about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know you said that you just got here a little bit ago. So far from what you've seen, what's the experience been like?
First of all, it's huge. This is way larger than what I've experienced in the past years, and that is brilliant. Very, very cool. And so many people. It's so nice to see everybody out. And that is one of the things about Pride when it comes around is a lot of us don't go out to the clubs, and we aren't necessarily out and about in that manner. And so you can miss the fact that there are tons of gay people in Omaha. And this is one of those days where I think a lot of people who aren't normally, running around to gay events necessarily, this is one of those days when everybody comes out.
Yeah.
And it is so nice to see everybody, from the teenagers and the kids who have a safe space to come, to people who might necessarily be perhaps recluse or they're just, maybe loners. But this is a time when you can come out and see everybody and be you in whatever wonderful, wild, odd way that you are. You can be you.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a judgment-free zone, I think. Like,
Yes.
people here they're here to actually express themselves fully and give space to others to express themselves fully.
Yes.
So awesome. Thank you so much, Susanna. Is there anything else you want to add? Any other fun little tidbits about being out in Nebraska, about being out in Omaha in the Midwest? Any recommendations for the youngins? Or even those folks who may be older who are not certain they are straight? Another hour and 10 minutes. I'm starting to see a steady stream of people coming over to have a chit chat with me in the Pride podcast trailer. So I'm really excited about that. Again, if you don't already know, I am Eli Rigatuso. I'm the host of Speaking of Happy and creator of Speaking of Happy. We also do a event. Oops, I don't know why that's gone. We also do 2 live stream events Tuesday evenings at 9 p.m. if you show up at 9 p.m. on our Speaking of Happy either Facebook page, or you can come to our YouTube channel. Sometimes we do live stream to Twitch, but we do a show either Speaking of Happy or Frankly Speaking, alternating Tuesdays, 9 p.m. So Frankly Speaking is all about, it's conversation with my good friend Avalisa and I. We have conversation around what it is to create open and affirming spaces for transgender, non-binary, gender diverse, and gender non-conforming folks like us. So now joining me in the podcast trailer is Tom from Caring Catholic Families, a group that's here, has a vendor booth today, and Tom accepted my invite to come and have a conversation with me about what your organization does. So welcome to the show, Tom.
Well, thanks, Eli. I appreciate being here.
Yeah, you're welcome. Tell me a little bit more about what Caring Catholic Families is.
Well, Caring Catholic Families is a support group for LGBTQ Catholics and families. And so, we're here to be affirming and listeners, and just provide whatever support that we can to hopefully make life easier and better for anybody who connects with us.
So what had you start the organization?
Well, I didn't start the organization myself. My wife, Wendy, and we joined probably, 8 or 9 years ago. It was actually founded back in 2006. And the founders are well into their 80s now.
Wow.
And but all of us have LGBTQ family members, and so I think hopefully your listeners, they understand it's critical to have support and know that you're loved and treasured. And our daughter Erin is gay and has a partner, and her partner has a daughter, and they live in St. Louis. And Erin has just been nothing but a gift to us. We have just learned so much through her and with her. And so we're just really privileged to be part of a group that seeks out to be supportive.
So tell me, how has the Catholic faith evolved over time? I actually was raised Catholic.
Okay.
I went to Mary Our Queen Catholic grade school, and we did the whole church every Sunday, stand up, sit down, fight, fight, fight. I'm not a Catholic today, and part of that is because I'm also Indigenous. All right, we are back, and I have another guest with me. I'm excited. This is a new friend, someone who I connected with online probably a couple of months ago now, and we are now just meeting in person. This is the first time that we're connecting in person. But this person actually moved here into Omaha and is now the Reverend at the Second Unitarian Church of Omaha, which is a really great little church. I've never actually gone to a service at the church, but I have done something else at the church, and we're going to talk about that in just a minute. So I just want to say hello to Reverend Juniper Meadows, who's with us. Hello. Hello. You're giving us that nice speaker voice, that nice... Yeah. Fantastic. So Juniper, the question that I actually came here to ask everyone is, what does pride mean to you?
Well, you're asking someone who always overthinks things, like a $10 question like that. I'll be here all day.
We've got time.
Well, I think there's different iterations of pride as a minister. I think in some theological traditions, pride is considered, you hear it all the time with yakadoos outside with their hateful signs saying pride is a sin. But there's different iterations, different kinds of pride, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason that things like, white pride is excruciatingly problematic, for example, because, there's no struggle entailed in that experience necessitated based on one's whiteness. One's class, however, or disability status or orientation or et cetera, there are other qualifying factors, but pride in this context, pride here, which I guess is what we're really talking about, I was talking about the word more generally, is there is something that is struggled for. There's a boldness, a challenge that is met when one comes to grips with a world that isn't necessarily built for them, when we're throwing off the shackles of small stories about, when we get told little tiny stories about how we're supposed to be to fit into some, like, binary way of looking at the world in terms of how we express or feel about ourselves, who we love. There are more neural connections in in your noggin than there are stars in a galaxy.
Yeah.
And the way, I think, and the self, our being, is emergent from those connections, from the space between. From the space between our brain noodles, I guess, our neurons. There we go.
Can be noodles.
Real.
Neurons,
I'm not
noodles.
a neuroscientist. I'm a minister and poet. So bear with me. But who we are is an emergent property between, is an emergent element between in the relationship of those things, the space between. Shoot, lost my train of thought there for a second.
It's okay. I have other questions I can ask.
Sure, maybe that. Pride is about pride is about relationships. Pride is about relationships.
All right. Welcome back. We are still here. We are still speaking to folks. It's about 5:43. I thought I was going to have to pack up because I was having a battery issue, but I think I've resolved that. So we are still good to go. All cameras are operational, and equipment is working just fine. We are still live streaming from the Pride Festival down at the CHI Health Center down off North 10th Street in Omaha, Nebraska. We've had some really amazing conversations. So many diverse people from all kinds of different places. I mean, from small town Nebraska to Boston, Maryland to, just all kinds of different folks coming and having a conversation with me today and talking about what pride means to them. And right now I have someone who has kind of like bounced back and forth a few times and was trying to get in line to answer our first question, and he's had to run back to his booth, but he is now here, right? I'm here with Joe. I'm calling him Joe the artist.
Yes. I am an artist, among many other hats that I wear, but that's the primary one. That's my first introduction. I'm an artist.
I love that primary one, being artist, because I think that sometimes we're taught not to lead with our creative selves. So I love that you're leading with yours, Joe. So first of all, tell me, Joe, what does pride mean to you?
It's such a beautiful question. And it's funny because I knew I was going to come and talk, and I knew what the question was. But of course, I didn't think about it, right? But I'm a wonderful talker, so I think I should be able to come up with a decent answer. I think for me, pride is being authentically who you are. And when you are speaking and living and being your authentic self, the only emotion that I'm feeling is pride. And so I think it's really, I'm also a teacher in one of my many roles. I teach poetry to high school students.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. And so that is another thing. And the number one thing I teach my students all the time is the audience is interested in your authenticity. If you can effectively communicate your authenticity, you've succeeded. And I think that as artists, and as I'm a writer and as an artist, that's what people want from you. They want you to be the most authentic version of yourself. And that's what people are interested in. They're not interested in you trying to please the masses or you trying to fit into a certain box. And so I try to make sure I teach that to all of my students. Any one of my students will tell you I've said it a million times to them. But for myself included, really just being who I am is, I think, where I find my pride and where I'm able to just be who I am. And for instance, I identify as queer. And, I haven't always identified as queer, but I just love it. I love the inclusivity of the label. I love that maybe there'll be a change. I just love the idea that I can decide which label works for me,
Yeah.
And queer feels really right for me for now.
So tell me, how did you arrive? All right. Okay, I lied. I said we were done for the day, but then we have three folks who came up and said, hey, We want to get in the Speaking of Happy Pride trailer, and we want to answer the question that you want everybody to answer today. So I am being joined by 3 more people, and one at a time, I'm going to have them introduce themselves, but we'll stop the stream and then restart it. But anyway, my first guest, if you want to go ahead and tell me your name, please.
Hi, my name is Maxwell.
All right, Maxwell. And Maxwell, so you know that the question is, what does pride mean to you? Can you share with our audience what pride means to you?
I think it means being whoever you want to do without the fear of judgment, the fear of anything happening to you or your loved ones. Hate crimes happen all the time, and I feel like being who you are is just... I live with that fear some days, but some days I know that I shouldn't live with it because I know it's not something that should be happening, but it is something that happens. So I just live with it, and I tell myself I should be proud of who I am no matter what happens in the end.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? You're right. Because you can live in fear and self-loathing, because I think staying closeted, so to speak, and not allowing yourself to be free, is more hurtful in the long run, right?
Yeah.
Is this your first Pride?
This is actually my third. I started going in 2019, and then 2020 happened, and then now I am back in 2020, 2022.
2022. Awesome. What was your favorite thing about Pride today?
I think it's that everybody was really accepting. I feel really loved about it. Every time I go there, I just feel happy. I feel loved. I feel like I'm accepted.
Yeah, that's awesome. Is there any booth or anything that happened that you really appreciated? And
I really liked the bipolar booth. They gave me a pamphlet about how they had group meetings, and I really like that because I struggle with bipolar. I haven't found a medication that works for me yet, so I'm struggling without medication or without help. It's really hard struggling with my moods and the chemical imbalance in my brain. So I'm really glad I found that group.
Wow. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate your honesty. Is there anything else you want to share with the folks that might be listening about maybe give them some hope if they weren't able to be here at Pride?
That you are loved and you matter. And no matter what your brain tells you, it's not true. And that you should be here today no matter what.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. All right, we're going to pause here for just a moment, and we'll have our next guest join us. We'll be right back. All right, we are back with our next guest. Right now, we are having a little chat with my new friend, Hamster. Hamster, can you tell me, what does pride mean to you?
So I think pride kind of somewhat means the same to everybody. It means being proud of who you are. Like in the name, it says pride. So you got to be proud of who you are, live every day to the fullest, the way you want it, the way you want to live it, and just unapologetically, just be you.
Right. What was your favorite thing about today?
I'd say my favorite thing about today was just being here. Like being with everyone, meeting everyone, being with my friends. Like meeting everyone is just it's a new experience, like meeting everyone and just hearing their stories, and it's just really nice.
Yeah. So is this your first Pride?
It's my second Pride. I went to Pride one time. I was in middle school, I think, and I didn't really have the best time. It wasn't like bad or anything. It just wasn't the greatest, but today was really, really great.
Awesome. What's going to be your best memory of today?
Definitely being out here with my friends, and meeting everyone. A lot of people were really excited to see the people dressed in giant animal costumes. And that's always the highlight of my day when I go out in my suit. So being out here with my friends and sharing that experience together is always amazing than having the experience alone.
So tell me a little bit about your animal costume. What do you go out as?
So my animal costume, it's a hamster.
Ah.
He's a European hamster, and his name is Hamon.
Okay.
His entire existence is a pun. No, Ham the hamster.
All right.
Funny.
Ham the hamster. I love it. I love it. So your favorite thing about today wasn't, speaking of happy and being on the podcast?
Well, it's part of it. Meeting you and talking to like everyone who might be listening is part of meeting the people.
All right. Well, Hamster, I appreciate you joining and being persistent that you get to talk to me today, or that actually I have the honor of speaking with you.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, you bet. You bet. All right. We are going to pause for a moment, and then we are going to have our final guest. I know I said earlier that we were done for the day, but we're squeezing a few more people in just because they have been waiting so patiently outside the trailer. We'll be back in just a moment. All right.
Shuffle, shuffle.
All right, we are here with our final guest of the day. We went a little bit over, but it's okay because so far we've had some really great input from some, and I don't want to say like some insightful